Hey scientists, welcome back to Caleb and Luke's Mega Science Show. It's me, scientist Caleb, and my brother, lab assistant Luke. No high five. Today, Luke, we are going to be talking about something very important, and that is density. Now, density is the amount of space an object takes up compared to the matter that it's made up of, the size of the matter that it's made up of. So it would be like taking a small stone and then maybe a rubber ball. Now the stone is a little heavier, so it's made up of more matter, so that means that it's more dense than the rubber ball. To show you, we're going to take a beaker and some colored water and some oil. Now, Lab Assistant Luke, I believe you had a question to ask, didn't you? Ready? Can you help me ask the question?
What happens when you mix oil and water?
Good question. So, Lab Assistant Luke, that is good for a piece of science cheese. So, Lab Assistant Luke's question was, what happens when you mix the oil and the water? And since you did the first part of our scientific method, I think I will make the hypothesis. I think that they're not going to mix. I think they're going to, maybe they'll separate. So let's try it out. So, scientists, like I said, all we did was we took some colored water. You guys can do this at home, actually. I encourage you to do this at home. It's a pretty cool experiment. We're going to pour that water in here. Next, we're going to take some, this is just vegetable oil, so you probably have it in your kitchen. Just ask your parents. And we're going to put the oil in there. Let's give it a, and let's see, let's do a little more. And if you look, dude, look, my hypothesis was right. Let me show Lab Assistant Luke. Look, the oil and the water did not mix. They do not mix. And as you see, the water went to the bottom and the oil went to the top. And that would be because the oil is less dense than the water. Let's see if we can mix it up. Let's see what happens if we mix it up. Will they come together? All right, let's see. And look at that. They still do not mix the oil and the water because the oil is less dense than the water, so the oil floats right on top of the water. Now, Luke, you know, usually that would be cool. That would be a good experiment to do, but I think we can do this even bigger, and I think we can do more things. And scientists at home, once again, what we're about to do, I want you to try at home too, because it's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to teach you a little bit about density. Plus, if you like making a mess, it's a little bit messy. So before we get to that, I think Lab Assistant Luke deserves another piece of science cheese. There you go, my man. Have a high five. Oh! Yeah! Yeah! All right. So now we have all of these items. And Lab Assistant Luke, did you have another question for us? I think you did. Ready? Can you help me? Ready? We're gonna go right here.
All of these substances mixed together.
I think that's good for a piece of science cheese, and that is an excellent question. So, Lab Assistant Luke's question was, when we put all of these substances into this jar, will they mix together? Well, scientists at home, you can try this, and you might not have all of these, but that's okay. You can still try them. Most of them are things you can find in the kitchen. So first, Lab Assistant Luke, we're going to take a little bit of corn syrup. Corn syrup. And we're just going to put a little bit at the bottom. We're going to try and not get it on the sides. Oh, would you look at that? Must be like a fresh bottle of it because the little cap is not off of it. There we go. That explains what was happening. Oh, it's very sticky. All right, so now that we got that taken care of, we're going to put the bottom, we're going to put a nice little layer of corn syrup on the bottom. Perfect. So if you look, there's just a little layer of corn syrup, a nice thick layer. Next, we're going to put some maple syrup in. If you love pancakes like we do, you got to try this maple syrup. It's excellent. All right, So it's 100% maple syrup. Make sure that you're using 100% pure maple syrup, not just the store-bought kind. So next, we're gonna pour that in. See, we'll make a little layer. And if you look, they do, so it's hard to see, but the syrup, the maple syrup, and the corn syrup do not mix. So there's that. My fingers are all sticky because of these two syrups. Syrups are very sticky. Next, want to feel that, Lukey? It's cold. Next, we're going to use whole milk. Make sure that you're using whole milk. Let's see. All right, we're going to pour it in nice and slow because you don't want, if you pour it in too fast, it'll mess it up. So let's go nice and slow. Perfect. So look at that. So far we have 3 layers. We have our corn syrup, we have our maple syrup, and we have our whole milk. No mixing yet. Next, dude, we're gonna take a nice layer of dish soap. Let's see. So let's make a nice make a good layer of that stuff. All right, and as you can see, now we have another layer. We have 4. We have our dish soap, we have our whole milk, we have our maple syrup, and we have our corn syrup. No mixing yet. Lab Assistant Luke, this is just some green water, so you can see the difference. We're gonna put the water in next, Lab Assistant Luke. It's green. Let's pour it in nice and slow, because if we pour it in too fast, it might mix. All right. So it is hard to see, but over here we can see it pretty well. There is a little layer of the green water. And finally, let's see what happens when we put our oil in. And look at that. It separated, and it looks kind of like they mixed, but I promise you they didn't. It's just very cloudy in there. There's a lot going on, and honestly, it might have been less cloudy and less murky like that if I had used the turkey baster, which you guys can try at home and let me know. But I really do see the different layers. I can see the oil, the water. Here's the soap, and then there's the milk, and then there's the maple syrup, and then there's that corn syrup. So, like we've been talking about density, the items that as they go up, they get less dense, so they start to float on top of the other items.
At-home science challenge.
Did you just hear that? Is that an at-home science challenge for the scientists at home? That's right, guys. We're going to challenge you this week to try this at home. You can do different liquids if you want, and if you do different liquids, leave a comment and let me know what you used. But then I also want you to take small objects that you can find around your house and put them in the water and see what happens. Just let me know. Comment and let me know what happens. All right, Lab Assistant Luke, you have been such an awesome help today. So here's some more science cheese. I think that we need to write up our conclusion about what we found out during our experiment. Oh, right. And I'm going to share the results. I said the objects did not mix because they got less dense as we went along, so they couldn't mix. Let me share my results with Lab Assistant Luke. Look at that. Shared my results with you. All right, guys. So I hope you had fun, as much fun as we did, and I hope that when you try this at home that you guys have fun too. Lab Assistant Luke, thank you so much for joining me. And for helping out. You were awesome. So guys, we'll see you next week for some more science.